6 months I knew her. 6 months she had an excuse for why I couldn't meet her mother. They're traditional. My uncle is shy. Not the right time. $28,000. That is what not the right time cost me. You are my family now, baby. You don't need to meet anyone else. I retired from logistics safety, 31 years at the same company. They handed me my watch and a cake shaped like a forklift. I knew I was done. 62, house paid off, a pension that wouldn't cover rent back home. Angeles City was the answer. 60,000 pesos a month for a one-bedroom near Fields Avenue. I could live like a king on Social Security. The bar was called Rico's, off the main strip, down a side street smelling of grill smoke and motor oil. Plastic chairs, ceiling fans moving hot air around. I went every night at 7, same stool, same red horse. It was the only routine I needed. She appeared in my second week, messy black hair pulled back, a wrinkled resort uniform. She sat 3 stools down and didn't look at me. That was different. The other women looked at you like a price tag. She looked at the TV playing basketball. I bought her a San Mig light. I offered and she said, "Okay, sir," like it was normal. Her name was Mia, 27. She worked front desk at a resort 2 blocks away, studying hospitality management at night. She showed me her textbooks, pages highlighted in yellow. She had goals, wanted to manage a hotel in Cebu. I told her about my daughter in Phoenix, who calls twice a year, about my apartment with the snow shovel in the garage. She listened like it mattered. Nobody listens. Marcus had been at Rico's longer than I had. 69, face like a crumpled paper bag, an Alabama accent. He watched the new guys. One night he pulled me aside by the pool table, said he needed to show me something. "Carter, my friend, how long you been talking to this girl?" I told him 6 weeks. He nodded. "She pretty?" I said yes. "She young?" "She listened to all your stories?" I said yes, and asked his point. He put his hand on my shoulder. His eyes were serious. "Point is, you a good man with a good pension. You told me more in 6 weeks than your own daughter. That makes you easy to read. This is a business town. Everything is business. Understand?" I told him he was wrong. She wasn't like the others. She never asked me for anything. Marcus laughed. It wasn't funny. Yet, I went back the next night. Mia was there. She smiled. That smile made me feel purpose again, like I wasn't just a retired man waiting to die. 2 weeks later, she asked to bring her books and study while we talked. I said of course. She sat next to me. Once she asked me to quiz her on hotel terms, front office, housekeeping. I felt useful, like a teacher. She told me about her mother in Cebu, sick, heart problems. Medicine was expensive. Her salary only went so far. I gave her 3,000 pesos for textbooks. She tried to refuse, pushed the money back. I insisted. She took it with tears. 3,000 pesos, $80. My daughter wouldn't return a phone call for that. The first month was good. We talked every day on Messenger. She sent photos of the resort, the beach, her school. I saved everyone. Then she mentioned her mother needed new medicine. 4,000 pesos. She was embarrassed. I told her not to worry. I sent it. That was the first time. I did not think much of it. But there was something. She never video called. Not once in 6 months. She said her phone camera was broken. Then, her Wi-Fi was bad. Then she was too tired from work. I asked to meet at her resort. She said her manager would be upset. I offered to pick her up after work. She said she took the last bus. I suggested visiting her family in Cebu. She said it was not the right time. Her mother was too sick. I should have walked away. Red flags the size of billboards. But I told myself not everyone has good technology. I told myself her mother really was sick. I wanted to believe. Marcus warned me twice more. I stopped sitting next to him. I stopped answering. I was not letting some bitter old man ruin the best thing in years. I knew something was off. I felt it, but I talked myself out of listening. I wanted to believe I was helping. I wanted to believe she was real. The money was small at first. Textbooks, medicine, a birthday gift. I did not realize I was building a trap. Every peso I sent was proof I was a good man. Every peso proved I mattered. Every peso made it harder to admit I was being played. I needed her to be real. That was my blind spot. That was the crack she walked through. By month 3, I had sent 11,000 pesos. By month 4, 22,000. I stopped counting. Marcus left me alone. I think he gave up. Maybe he saw what I could not. Maybe he knew what was coming. She said her mother needed surgery, 40,000 pesos, then 60. Then a complication made it higher. I paid, every time. I paid because stopping meant admitting I was wrong. I paid because she needed me. I paid because I did not want to be alone. That was my blind spot. Not the money, the loneliness. That was what killed me. 2 weeks later, she asked me to meet her uncle. I thought it was a good sign. Family was involved. That meant this was real. We met at a restaurant near Fields Avenue. Plastic chairs, fluorescent lights. The kind of place where you hear everything because no one is listening. She was early, sitting at a corner table, fidgeting with a napkin. I sat down and she reached for my hand. Her fingers were cold. Uncle Ruben walked in 10 minutes later. He was shorter than I expected, maybe 5'6", 48, but he looked older. Military buzz cut, a scar across his left eyebrow. He wore a black polo shirt untucked. I saw the handle of something tucked into his waistband. My eyes went to it, and then away. I did not want to stare. I did not want him to think I was looking, but I saw it. I knew it was there. He sat down without smiling. He looked at me once, and then at Mia. She spoke to him in Tagalog, fast. I could not follow it. Then he turned to me and spoke in English, broken, choppy. He said his name was Ruben. He said Mia had a problem. He slid a piece of paper across the table, handwritten, numbers on it. He said Mia borrowed 45,000 pesos 4 months ago. He said she borrowed it for her mother's cancer treatment in Cebu. He said the debt had grown to 85,000 with interest. I asked him who she borrowed from. He said a local lender. He said the men were dangerous. He said they had come to Mia's door twice. They had threatened to hurt her. He said one showed a knife. I looked at Mia. She was crying. Not loudly, just tears running down her face. She said her mother would die without the next treatment. She said the lenders would kill her if she could not pay. She said I was the only person who could help. I wanted to say no. 85,000 pesos. That was almost $1,700. I had already sent her 40,000 for the surgery, and the complications, and now this. But Ruben reached for his waistband, just his hand resting there. He did not pull the gun out. He did not have to. He just let me know it was there. He said the men who lent the money were not patient. I thought about that. Why did a loan shark need a gun at a restaurant meeting? Why was her uncle armed to talk about medical bills? I should have asked. I did not. Mia squeezed my hand, hard. She said her mother was everything. She said her mother raised her alone after her father left. She said she could not lose her too. And I thought about my own wife, how sick she got at the end, how I would have done anything. I told Ruben I would pay, but I wanted proof. I wanted to see the original loan documents. He shook his head. He said the lenders did not give receipts. They did not operate that way. He said if I wanted to help, I had to trust him. Trust her. That word again, trust. I had been trusting her since we started, sending money for her mother's surgery. I had already sent 60,000 pesos total. What was another 85? If I stopped now, everything I had given would be wasted. I told him I needed a few days to get the money. He said that was fine, but he said I should not take too long. He said the men would return, and next time they might not just knock. He stood up. He looked at Mia and said something in Tagalog. She nodded. Then he walked out. I sat there with Mia for another 20 minutes. She held my hand and thanked me. She said I was saving her mother's life. She said when this was over, she would explain everything. She would make me understand. I believed her. I wanted to believe her. That night, I lay awake and thought about the gun. I thought about why her uncle was armed at a meeting about medical bills. I thought about how he never showed me the loan documents. I thought about how Mia had been crying before Ruben even walked in. I should have stopped there. I should have walked away, but I did not. I sent the money 3 days later, 85,000 pesos. I told myself I was protecting her. I told myself it was the right thing. The next transfer was 30,000 pesos. That was 3 weeks after the first one. Ruben sent me a photo of a bank slip. I thought that meant something. It did not. He told me the debt was almost clear, just 15,000 more, and Mia would be free. I sent another 25,000 2 weeks later, but Ruben called again. This time his voice was different, harder. He told me the lenders had added interest. The new total was 120,000 pesos. I asked him how that was possible. He said the original debt had been growing for years. Compound interest, he called it. I did not argue. Mia came to my apartment that evening. She was crying before she even sat down. She told me her mother needed another operation. The doctors found something else, she said. I put my arm around her. I wanted to believe her. That night something occurred to me. Mia had been with me for 5 months. She had never once asked me to go with her to the hospital. She had never given me the name of the hospital. She had never asked me to meet her mother. I pushed the thought away. I talked myself out of it. I was good at that by then. The calls from Ruben became more frequent. He called at 2 in the morning. He called during dinner. He left voice messages that were just breath and silence. He started using a different phone number. Each time, a new one. I could never save it. One night he called and I did not answer. He sent a text instead. It said, "You brought this on yourself. You got involved. Now you have to finish it." I sat in my living room and read those words 3 times. I transferred another 15,000 pesos the next morning. Ruben showed up at my apartment complex 4 days later, unannounced. I saw him through the window first. He was standing by the pool area, smoking a cigarette, looking at the gate like he was waiting for someone. I went down to meet him. I did not want him near my door. He looked at me without smiling. He told me the lenders were getting impatient. He said I had 48 hours to bring another 40,000 pesos to a location he would specify. If I did not, things would get bad. I asked him what that meant. He just looked at me and took a long drag on his cigarette. Then he turned and walked away. I stood there by the pool for a long time after he left. The sun was setting and the sky was orange and red. I thought about the money I had already sent. I noticed something. The name on the bank account Ruben used for the latest transfer. It did not match the name he used before. I told myself it meant nothing. People have multiple accounts. I did not want to think about what it actually meant. 48 hours. That was the deadline, and I did not know what I was going to do. Marcus found me at the bar 3 nights after the second payment. He stood over my table and told me he had been hearing things, rumors, about a woman in Mabini working an uncle into the game. He said the uncle was known around Angeles. He said Ruben was a fixer. That was the word he used. Fixer. I asked him what he meant by fixer. He said Ruben helped arrange things, loans that did not exist, hospital bills from doctors who did not practice. He said Ruben had done it before, to other men, other foreigners. I told him he was wrong. I told him Mia was different. He looked at me the way you look at a man walking toward the edge of a cliff. I told him to leave it alone. He said he was trying to save me money. I told him I did not need saving. He left. He did not finish his drink. I watched him go, and I told myself he was jealous. 48 hours. That was still the deadline. The next afternoon, I walked to a carinderia 3 blocks from Mia's apartment. I wanted to see her face and remember why I was doing this. I ordered sinigang and sat near the window. And then I saw him. Ruben was at a table in the back corner. He had a phone to his ear and he was talking fast. Tagalog. The kind of rapid Tagalog you hear when someone thinks no one is listening. I worked with Filipino crews for 11 years in logistics. I learned the language the way you learn a tool, enough to understand when a man is lying. I sat there and I listened. He was laughing at first. He said the American was good for it. Those were the exact words. The American was good for it. He said they just needed to keep the pressure on without going too far. He said to ask Mia to cry a little more that night. I heard my own name, not my name exactly. He said Americano. He said it the way you say something you are not afraid of. I sat there with my hands on the table. My sinigang came and I did not touch it. The food got cold and I did not care. I watched Ruben laugh and gesture with his free hand and I felt something shift in my chest. A gear turning, a lock clicking open. I had been so sure. I had been so certain that Mia was real, that her mother was sick, that Ruben was a man doing a terrible thing because he was cornered. I had built a whole story in my head, and I had put her at the center of it as the victim. I watched Ruben stand up. I watched him pocket his phone and walk out like a man who had just finished a deal. The owner came by and asked if I was all right. I said yes. I paid for the food I had not eaten. I walked outside into the afternoon heat, and I stood on the sidewalk. All of it. The hospital. The uncle with the gun, the loan shark, the sick mother in Cebu, all of it manufactured, rehearsed. I was the target of a production, and I had walked into it like an extra who did not know his lines. I walked back to my apartment. My legs felt heavy. I turned the corner and saw her, Mia, sitting on the steps outside my building. She stood fast, coming toward me with her hands out. "Where have you been?" She grabbed my arm. I have been so worried. Ruben said you left. He said you were angry. He said you might not help us. I looked at her face. The tears were still wet. She had been crying hard. Her eyes were red and her voice shook. For a second, I almost believed it. I pulled my arm away gently. I said I heard him. I heard Ruben on the phone. I know what the 40,000 is really for. Her face did something I will never forget. The tears stopped. Not slowed. Stopped. Like a turned-off faucet. Her expression changed from worried to cold in a second. What are you talking about? Her voice was different now. Flat. What did you hear? I heard him say it out loud. I said the 40,000 was for next month too. This never ends, and you know it. She did not answer. She just looked. The crying woman from 30 seconds ago was gone. Someone else looked out through her eyes. You do not understand. Her voice was quiet now, low. My mother is dying. We need the money for treatment. I told her I did not believe her. I knew her mother was not in any Cebu hospital. I said I was going to the police in the morning to tell them everything. For a moment, she did not move. She stood on the sidewalk and looked at me like she was measuring something, calculating. Then her mouth curved into something, not a smile. It was smaller, harder. She turned and walked away down Fields Avenue toward the bright lights and crowds. She did not look back, not once. She walked like a woman with places to be and a next script already waiting. I left Angeles City that night with $40,000 less and a story I couldn't stop replaying. She never introduced me to family, not once. Do not let this happen to you. I compiled every red flag I missed into a checklist, every sign from this story, and 49 others. Download the Expat Due Diligence Protocol. Link is in the description. It is $7. I lost 40,000. You do the math.